All right, that is an awesome product. So many features, such great value, and he showed you a little bit about ActiveTarget. So next up, I've got Jeremiah Clark here, product director. He's going to tell us a lot about ActiveTarget, and he's going to go out on the water with Gary Klein. Gary is co-founder of MLF, also a seasoned angler, fished over 500 professional tournaments, many wins, and a wealth of knowledge. So Jeremiah, let's start with, what is ActiveTarget?
Kind of the short answer is ActiveTarget is the best live sonar on the market. It's the highest resolution, it's the clearest, as you'll see when we get on the water. And basically, you know, we went for clarity, resolution, and detail on this product. That's what consumers tell us they look for when they're looking for really any sonar product in freshwater, you know, or even saltwater. But really, it comes to resolution, clarity, and how well can they have a tool to help them find fish. And we think with ActiveTarget, the live sonar, the views of being able to actually see structure, see fish, see your baits, see bait in real time and react to you is just, it's game changing for our Lowrance anglers for sure.
Yeah, I know you and I have spent a lot of time testing and developing this product. And it's really changed the way we're on the water. But why don't you break it down? Tell us what all is included with the ActiveTarget.
Yeah, so the ActiveTarget unit itself, it's a transducer and a module, which we'll just go and unbox one here. You know, kind of the same message that Matthew talked about. I've got a much bigger, more unwieldy box than he did. But, you know, it's kind of the same thing. It's all sustainable packaging. There's a module, a transducer, and then all of the trolling motor mounts you need are in the box. We have a shaft mount that can do our 3 views, forward, down, and scout, which we'll show you here in a little bit. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. We also have, those are for if you're mounting on a hybrid or a cable steer type motor and you can mount on the shaft. We also have mounts that'll go onto the motor itself if you're using an electric steer and you can't shaft mount. Or if you just didn't want to shaft mount something and you wanted more of a dedicated view, in this box we have a scout mount and we also have a down forward mount that'll go right on the shaft. The only other thing in the box really is an Ethernet cable and a power cable, but it is all in sustainable packaging. It is the first time we are using, instead of foam, we're using totally compostable mushroom. And it kind of sounds weird, you know, you think, oh, you guys are hippies. No, really, we're trying to protect this clean, clear lake that we fish out of right now, right? We want to make sure that we protect and respect the place that we go for our recreation, for our profession. And by doing that, by taking out all single-use plastics, we have that ability. And, you know, again, using materials that are naturally available and they're going to break down.
That's awesome. Great. So you've covered a little bit of the views and all that, but, you know, you're kind of a sonar nerd in my opinion. Can you, for us average folks, kind of explain the technology, how it works?
Yeah, the 10,000 foot view, this is a technology called frequency steered sonar, or frequency steered sonar arrays. And the way it works is we, through a series of these arrays, if you see the transducer, there are 3 faces to this transducer. And there's nothing unique about this. What we're doing versus what's been done in the commercial space for years. This technology is really not new. This technology is new to our market. But there's really nothing unique or special about the actual science of this. The science has been around for 100 years. The magic is in the actual transducer design, the hardware design, and all of the, I call it the typing. Our software engineers hate to say that, but the actual DSP, the signal processing, the coding. And the way that this works is there are these 3 basically, let's just call them arrays. Each one of these, you could think about it like its own transducer, even though there's actually many different pieces in there. In each one of these arrays, we sweep those from a low frequency to a high frequency. Frequency steered. We steer from low to high. And that's what you actually get out to each array. You get 2 sections. And now you sew all those together, you get 6 full sections that sew that together to be a 135-degree beam from top to bottom. And then you actually sweep through all of those beams and all of those sections live, and you get live sonar. You can actually see the fish swim. The first time I saw fins move on a fish, I got kind of goosebumps, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the funny thing about watching the fish swim and react in real time is every time you put the bait in the water, something's going to come look at it, and the speed that they come look at it is insane. So, like, there's no delay, there's no lag. You drop the lure in the water, you see the fish come up, and then from there, it's either up to the fish, your presentation, or your lure on if you're actually going to catch that fish or not.
That's awesome. So you're really entrenched in the project, and you've been working on it for some time now. Can you give us an idea, kind of, what does it take? How long does it take? What kind of resources, you know, are at your disposal to do this?
Well, I wish we had more resources. Everybody does, right? But the project itself, like the actual physical project, us spending money, us having guys work on it, kicked off early 2019. So we're talking almost 2 years into the actual project. Kind of the funny thing, and you and I chatted about this on the way up to the lake, right? I remember when I first became a product manager, there was a young product manager named Lucas Stewart. Looked at basically the same. This guy doesn't age. He had on his roadmap a thing called live stationary downscan. And I thought, man, that would be really awesome. We looked at some products that we'd seen in the commercial space that were built for submarines, for unmanned underwater vehicles. And we're talking, $30, $40, $50, $100,000 systems that are usually only used by militaries or survey companies. And Lucas had the idea, let's put that on a fishing boat. Okay, we didn't know how. So basically that was 2014, 2015. The steps we've taken to get to this point, we look at live sight, live sonar. That was our first iteration of live sonar, and it was still trying to build to this point we're at today. So we've had a lot of people come and go since. A lot of things have changed in the company, but the getting to this goal and getting to this point was a 5 to 6 year process. The actual project was only about 2 years once we started working in earnest. What it takes, man, it takes the smartest hardware team, the smartest software team, the guys on the mechanical team just to build the brackets. We probably spent more time talking brackets than we did talking the crystals we use in the transducer, right? I mean, these are all very important parts. We have the best team in the industry working to make the best products.
I think that bracket's key. So that's the good side of how it gets done and what resolution it is. But tell us about those different modes or use cases and how important they are.
Yeah, so one of the things along the way, you and I chatted 2 years ago, and we said, would somebody actually change views on the water? And until we actually got really to use the product and used to using the product, it was a big question mark. But one thing I did insist during the project was, if we're going to make a bracket that's adjustable, it has to be adjustable without any tools, and it has to be a quick change, right? You're not going to stop fishing for minutes or even 30 seconds to change a view. So the way that a bracket's laid out is it's super simple, especially if you got the shaft mount bracket. There's a knob to adjust to go from scout to forward, and then on the transducer there's a knob to adjust from forward to down. It's only 2 clicks to go from forward to down. So you make those 2 real quick adjustments, trolling motor back in the water, and you're off fishing before your boat's even drifted off the spot.
Yeah, that's awesome. So those 3 different modes, tell us a little bit about the use case, and you'll probably do that with Gary in just a second, but just quick highlight.
Yeah, so the kind of the elevator pitch, I guess, on these modes is there's forward mode, which is if you're an active casting fisherman, you're trying to line up, you're trying to look out to structure, you're trying to look out to bait fish, you want to line up a cast, you want to actively target your next cast. That's how we came up with the name. We're thinking about this kind of like a gun sight, right? You're actually lining up exactly what you're trying to do. That's the forward mode. I'm looking out, I see the structure out in front of me, I know it's 50 feet away, I know the fish are 30 feet down, I can make a cast to them and actively target that next cast. So that's the forward mode. The down mode, man, it kind of, when you and I started playing with this, I hadn't fished for crappie probably since I was a kid fishing with my grandpa on a john boat with a cane pole, right?
Right.
Like, it's just not something that I became kind of eaten up with bass fishing, and that's all I really did. But the down mode, man, it is a live well filler.
Yeah.
You get on a brush pile, you drop the jig down, and you can watch the fish swarm and attack that jig or not. And that tells you a lot. Are you at the right depth? Are you jigging too fast, or should you be moving at all? Do you have the right color on? So I've crappie fished more this summer testing this product than I probably have since I was a kid. It's something that I haven't thought I was going to do in a while. It's a great presentation for other anglers that aren't crappie fishing. If you're fishing directly on a brush pile, on a ledge, on a drop-off, and you're dropping straight down 2 fish, the down is great. I think the view we're going to show here, because of the conditions we're in, and we kind of wanted to show off some of the dive park, is the down view.
Right.
We normally would adjust and show all the different angles, but the way our camera mounts are lined up, if I adjust the angles, I put one of our cameras in the water and he gets really mad at me. So we're going to roll a down view today. The other one that we have is scout view. So that's, again, you adjust this knob, you tilt the bracket up, and you point the transducer straight forward. And there's a bunch of different use cases for it, and I'm still feeling it out. So what I found that I really like is looking for schooling fish, whether it's bait fish or predator fish that are out roaming around. If I know I'm near a brush pile and I've already used my side scan to locate that brush pile, I've got my trolling motor down, and I kind of want to see, how are the fish relating to the brush pile? Are there a lot of them around? But really for me, especially this time of year, man, it is all about looking for bait fish. Pull up on a spot, look around, take a peek, see if there are bait fish. Usually if there are bait fish, there's people looking to eat them, right?
That's right.
But yeah, you can use it for structure, you can use it for bait, you can even use it for those individual schools of roaming fish.
Nice. So we're on a lake today, but somebody got to sneak out and do a little saltwater testing. Maybe tell us a little bit about what you found out in saltwater.
First of all, that somebody wasn't me. As you can tell, my tan went away when the summer did. But yeah, so we built this product specifically for freshwater use, and we thought all along, if it works in salt, that's great, but we didn't want to make any compromises, right? Like we wanted to make it the best product for anglers that are using it in those down and forward scenarios. So what kind of, when we sent Matthew down to the Florida Keys to do some testing, it was a little bit of surprise when we started getting videos back that he's in 120 feet of water picking out the details of a wreck. Like, I mean, when I say the details, I don't mean see the hull. I mean, you could see the turret of this old Navy ship that was sunk, the perfectly round turret matched up perfectly with the picture. You could watch the diver go down to the wreck. You could see tarpon, you know, swimming around. There's one that he's got with a barracuda slashing through a school of baitfish and this huge Goliath grouper on the bottom in 80 feet of water. So there was always kind of a big joke with us in marketing, like, will it work in salt? And I kept saying, should. The science says it should, but don't know till we can see it. Obviously, with 2020 being 2020, it's not like we can all hop on a plane and go test stuff whenever we want, right? So
yeah, exactly.
So to actually get those feedback and see how well it worked was really amazing and really encouraging. And we made a freshwater product that works phenomenally in saltwater.
That's awesome. Well, let's go out and look at it live on the water.
All right.
Seeing the fish, their position, and how they respond in real time. That's game changing.